This is Petra Predictions. In this video, I will be talking about the African nations that have qualified for the 2022 World Cup and their chances within this World Cup. So I won't delve into the groups they're in specifically, but just looking at all the 5 different African teams, how I think they could do. Senegal, where to start with this team? Such incredible feats they've achieved for a relatively small nation as well. I do feel like though Senegal do have pressure coming into this World Cup. Their group is not the most difficult group. They're African champions. I feel like they will actually be tested a lot, and I don't know how they will manage with the pressure. However, having said that about managing pressure, they've only lost one game in 23 matches, and that was the playoff, one of the playoff legs against Egypt for the World Cup. I haven't said about that pressure though. They clearly showed at this AFCON where they only just about got off the group, so to say, but then they clearly have this winning mentality about them, and even if they're not playing well, they still get results, and that is the sign of an elite team, to be honest. When you still get results, you're still scoring goals even when you're not playing at your best, and I feel like this is happening a lot with this Senegal team. To start with in goals, you've got of course Edouard Mendy, who recently won best goalkeeper of the year, had a lot of success at club and international level. But someone also to highlight is Alfred Gomi. He's the Senegal's backup keeper, and he currently plays for Rennes and actually plays quite consistently for them. Rennes, funnily enough, Edouard Mendy came from Rennes, so they're clearly quite good at seeking out goalkeepers. And he is good enough, Alfred Gomi, and it's just they've even got a backup keeper if needed, and he's more than capable of filling Edouard Mendy's shoes. In defence, you've got the great partnership of Koulibaly, highly experienced, but also with the Diallo, who is a very solid centre-back too. Good partnership between them two. Someone to highlight in Senegal's defence is Saliou Ciss, the left-back, and I thought he was very good this AFCON just gone. He's very strong, good tackler, quite a hard tackler, but he's up and down that left flank and will create those attacking options. In the midfield, you've got the highly experienced Idrissa Gueye and Kouyaté. So many caps between them. Such a presence for the national team and their clubs too. But also you've got quite youthful midfielders like Pape Gueye and Pape Sarr, who are still just more than capable of filling those roles if necessary, or even putting them as a 3 midfield. Senegal's attack, of course, you got Sadio Mane, very experienced, a very good leader as well for Senegal. You've got Boulaye Dia, who's usually a number 9, but he can also come off the wing as well, which is a good option. You've got Ismaïla Sarr, who again has so much experience with the team, considering he's only 24. Really good winger option. You've even got Diéhoud as a number 9, who doesn't play that often, but he's actually got good stats with the national team. Someone who really came to light this AFCON as well is Bamba Dieng. Now, he's usually a winger. He can play as a centre forward too. And he usually came on as a super sub, and he brings on a lot of energy. He's still only 22. So Senegal's depth is very, very strong. I know I ranted a lot about the Senegal squad, but there's so much depth and so many elite players that I could not leave out. Something about Senegal squad, their formation. So Senegal prefer to go with a 4-3-3. And as you see, their 3 midfielders are more defensive minded. They're more compact, winning the ball in the middle or their own third. They can carry the ball well, but more defensive minded. And I think this is because Senegal have so much depth in their attack, and they have so many wingers, and they do have number 9s as well. And actually players like Sadio Mane and Dieng can actually play as a winger or up front if needed. So, and you see that a lot in Senegal, where the front three will alternate a lot in matches, and this will confuse the opposition. It works very well. However, Senegal are willing to adapt, and quite a few times they have implemented a 4-2-3-1 depending on the opposition. So you can see Senegal are adaptive towards their opposition and what works best in a given match. Yes, they have a preferred formation, but they show they can be flexible. And this is something I feel like Senegal, compared to the other African teams, do very well. Something Senegal can be happy and boast about is they've got a good record against European teams, actually, especially in the World Cup. Their debut in 2002, they shocked France with that win, of course. They drew to Denmark. They won against Sweden. Okay, they lost out to Turkey in the quarterfinals, but that was their debut tournament. Like, they went so far anyway. And the World Cup just gone in 2018, they won against Poland pretty comfortably, and a few years back they drew against Brazil in a friendly. Senegal's chances this World Cup, I really see Senegal getting to the quarterfinals again. They've, with all the factors I've said, essentially, I don't want to repeat myself. Depending on who they get in the quarterfinals as well will be very interesting, and I hope Senegal, can be the first African nation this World Cup to make it to the semis, or any African nation to make it to the semis. Tunisia. Out of all the African nations that have actually qualified this World Cup, Tunisia has the poorest record in the World Cup. I believe they've only won 2 games. They've made 5 appearances. Never got out of the group stage either. However, though, Tunisia the past couple years, and especially now, and even under the new coach since they've had Kadri, is it? Since they've had in March or so after this year's AFCON, they give me signs of like a really jammy team. So they don't concede much. So they're actually very defensively sound, Tunisia. They don't score much either. It's these kinds of tournaments where actually the solid defences, and if you take your chances and you even nip in those 1-0 wins, those are what wins you tournaments. Just ask Mourinho. So I feel something quite different with this Tunisian team right now. Talking about Tunisia being a jammy team, actually the matches in June just gone. They beat Equatorial Guinea in an AFCON qualify 4-0, and they participated in the Japanese Cup. I want to call it's like a friendly cup called the Kirim Cup, I believe. They beat Chile 2-0. And then in the final of this cup, they beat Japan 3-0. So big wins for Tunisia. And what's noteworthy in that little friendly tournament was Tunisia set up as a 4-3-3. So I think Tunisia should stick to this setup. They're clearly more attacking when they're in this setup, and it would be really nice to see them implement in the World Cup. Tunisia's squad in defence, you've got the highly experienced left back Ma'aloul, and you've also got the good right back Drager, and these fullbacks tend to be a bit more compact with the Tunisian side, so you won't see them kind of chasing down the flanks, which is probably contributing to Tunisia's good defence. Tunisia's attack is relatively aging, but a lot of experience. You've got striker and captain Msakni. Even Jaziri has come through and fitted into the squad quite well. You've got Sliti, Kazri. Both of Sliti and Kazri were in the last World Cup, so at least there's some of that experience in the attacking force in that tournament. And Kazri can actually play deeper as more of an attacking midfielder if, Tunisia need that more experience in the mid too. So they do have options there. Tunisia's midfield is actually quite youthful. You've got Mejbri, who is such a strong commanding presence in the midfield. He's a hard tackler. He looks comfortable on the ball. His distribution is good. And all of that at the age of 19. And it's really good to see him properly implemented in the Tunisian side now. You've got a more attacking option like Slimane, who likes to push up and actually can play as a winger if need be. You've got Laidouni, who I know he plays at Ferencváros in the Hungarian league, but something noteworthy about him is that he won Most Valuable Player in the Hungarian league in the 2020-21 season. So just a lot of prosperity in the midfield for Tunisia. And of course, as I said, Khazri can sit deeper in the midfield. You've got the experience Sassi. So there's a good mixture in the midfield right now. Tunisia's chances this World Cup, I actually do see Tunisia making their own football in history this World Cup and making it to the round of 16 for the first time. I just think there's a lot of potential with this Tunisian side. Like I said, a lot of the players have that experience 4 years ago from the last World Cup. And maybe good fortune will be on their side, given that in the Arab Cup last year, that was held in Qatar, they got to the finals. So who knows? However, I would not be surprised if they did not make it out the group stage, because they are in a difficult group. Morocco, I feel like there's actually a lot of depth in the squad right now, which I will mention later. However, against non-African teams, they haven't been proven well enough. And like just gone, they lost to the USA 3-0, even though they, fielded a strong squad. And before that, I don't even know the last time Morocco played against a non-African nation, and I think that actually will hinder them. But good thing for Morocco is that in September they don't have matches. So, Moroccan FA organise matches against non-African teams then. That would be useful. And of course, there's squad issues with the manager Halil Hodzic and Ziyech, and he's also apparently had disputes with other players. And I feel like that's such a big hinder when you've got turmoil within the camp or the squad, because as we saw in the 2010 World Cup, where France had squad issues, they had a poor tournament. And even the last World Cup in 2018, Spain and Argentina had their own kind of issues with the squad or management, and it proved them costly. Morocco, let's start with their goalkeeper Bono or Bunu. Really good, solid guy. He's playing in such high standards of football as well. So very all-round, highly experienced goalkeeper Morocco's got there. And it's actually their defence, I feel like, is the most constant mainstay. You've got Massina on the left, Hakimi on the right, and you'll usually have Aguerd or Saiss in the middle, and it looks like it's quite a solid defensive partnerships there. You've got Mazraoui coming back into the side, so it'll be interesting how he fits into the squad. Midfield, I feel like this is where there's actually a lot of confusion in the squad, because I feel like there's so much depth in the midfield. You've got the experienced Farj and Amrabat, who tend to sit deeper there, but you've also got Unahi, who's being implemented into the squad well, and he's the one who kind of likes to push forward more. Also got Amala, Barkok, and then Harit and Ta'arabt are also coming back into the squad. So yeah, there's a lot of defensive minded and attacking minded in the midfield. Morocco's number 9 options, they actually have En Naziri, who is experienced with the national side and seems like a solid mainstay for them. You've got Ryan May, who hasn't got as much experience, but he's been given time and he's starting to implement well. And Morocco actually have many wingers. They have Boufal, who I thought was really good the AFCON just gone, and he looks like he should be a mainstay in the starting 11. You got Tissoudali, who's starting to get into the squad more. You've even got Munir as an option, who he hasn't proven himself for Morocco as much, but still an option. You've got the young Azal Zuli coming through, who's also an option. So yeah, Morocco's attack is actually, there's a lot, and I'm very certain I've missed others out too. Another option Morocco do have in attack is Ziyech, of course. So hopefully he'll come back to the squad. Who knows? He could even play a little bit deeper in the midfield. But yeah, let me guys know what you think about Ziyech and Halil Hodzic. Something noteworthy to mention about Morocco is their formation. Now, there's been a lot of different variations just in this year alone. So, Halil Hodzic has tried to play a 4-4-2 with Morocco, a 5-3-2, given, his good fullbacks. I get it, for them to press up and that more. And also a 4-1-4-1, which seems quite odd. And he's had very mixed results with all these formations. So I do think that's actually a hinder for Morocco and their chances, because I feel like there's not consistency, and different players are potentially being asked to do different things. But let me know what you guys think in the comment section below. Do you think the formation is causing trouble with Morocco? Do you think, like I said, the overload in midfield? Morocco's chances this World Cup, not gonna lie, I see it being a group stage exit for them this World Cup. I know I'm gonna get a lot of backlash, so come at me, but like I said, all the factors I mentioned before, and the main one for me is the whole disputes between players and managers. We've seen it in tournaments before, what an effect that has, and I really think that is why Morocco will not do as well. However, I wouldn't be surprised if they make it to the round of 16, because they've got a very good squad, and I hope I'm proven wrong. Cameroon, I feel like they're coming under the radar this World Cup, as most people didn't expect them to qualify. I didn't, certainly, but they're a very physical team. They're a very strong team, and they're a very hard-working team. And I feel like there is chemistry amongst the team, surprising or not surprising. And yes, the last AFCON, they had a relatively easy route. Then when they got tested, like against Egypt, they couldn't pass the test. But under the management of Rigobert Song, a Cameroonian, they do look better, not going to lie. I know he's only been in charge for a few games, but there just seems to be kind of like a team spirit amongst the squad, and I just feel something with this squad, even though they're not like world-class players, so to say. Something else to note though with Cameroon is they haven't played a non-African team since, I want to say, like the Confederations Cup in 2017, so that might be an issue. Cameroon's squad, you've got a relatively young goalkeeper in Andre Onana, who is such a presence, such a commanding goalkeeper, and is a great shot stopper. You've got the highly experienced centre-back, Gadju, if I've pronounced that correctly, and you've got fullbacks like Oyongo. In the midfield, you've got Anguissa, who is very good at holding the ball, carrying the ball as well, and more defensive-minded midfielders, you've got like Mguet, Hongla, even the young Jean Onana coming through. Cameroon's attack, I feel like this is actually the most aging part of the squad. However, you've got the absolute beast of a number 9, Abubakar, and he has proven in tournaments as well how lethal he is. And he works really well as a 2 with Choupo-Moting, and I think it works quite well, them two. And you've got, as a winger, Toko Akambi, who is phenomenal, doing really well for Lyon and for the national team. And he always seems to get into the right spaces at the right time, which is just a really good asset as well. And you've also got other wingers like Ngamaleu, if need be. The thing to note about Cameroon's style of play is they go for a 4-4-2. Now, a lot of people might think this is old-fashioned, with all these introvert wingers, or what even you call it. It seems to be a solid stay for Cameroon, and it seems like there's a clear understanding amongst the squad about this. And a lot of Cameroon's midfielders will sit deep. They are a squad that do like to sit deep, and they will, counter-attack with the pace of Toko Akambi, or the strength of like Abubakar and Choupo-Moting. So it seems to work pretty well for Cameroon, and they're not a team that likes possession like the World Cup qualifier against Algeria. They weren't dominating. Algeria dominated, but they still got the results. Cameroon's this chances. I'm going to make a bold claim and I'm going to say rounds of 16. I feel like they're coming under the radar. There's actually a lot of experience in the squad and I feel like there's more pressure on the other teams in their group than them. And I think they'll use that to their advantage. And they play Brazil last. They play Serbia, Switzerland before. And I feel like that's to their advantage too. However, I wouldn't be surprised if they got out the group stage because it is a difficult group. For the final African team this World Cup, Ghana, the lowest ranked team in the World Cup actually, and not going to lie, I have very mixed feelings about this Ghanaian team. Shout out to Ghana's kit, I absolutely love it. It's just so electrifying, it looks so colourful, so vibrant, and I really hope they keep it for the World Cup. Speaking of electrifying, it looks very much like the Pokemon Electabuzz. Given they finished bottom of the AFCON group earlier this year with one solo point, I think a lot of credit should go to ADO management and just Ghana, for picking themselves up and qualifying for the World Cup. However, the results have been very mixed recently. They've won against Madagascar, 3-0, but then they drew to Central African Republic and lost quite horribly to Japan. And part of this could be just mixing around the formation. So Ado has been trying a 4-2-3-1, a 4-3-3, a 4-4-2 diamond, and it just feels like there's not understanding in the team or, certain players' roles, which I guess is better to do now rather than at the World Cup, but there just seems to be incoherence. Ghana's squad, you've got the highly experienced left-back Rahman and highly experienced centre-back Amarty. In the midfield, you've got highly experienced Wakaso and Partey, who is just such a good commanding presence in the midfield and good leadership qualities. But then Ghana's also got very interesting attacking-minded youngsters like Isahaku and Kudus, who adds a good different dimension to their midfield. Ghana's attack, again like their midfield, they have a very interesting mix of experience and youth, where you've got the Ayew brothers, Andre and Jordan, with a lot of experience, and both of them were actually in the 2014 World Cup they last qualified, so that experience will be good for the other youngsters in the squad. And you've got youngsters like Suleimani, Afenadian, who are looking really creative and just such a different dynamic for the team. Of course, we cannot forget how Ghana are cleverly and successfully recruiting second-generation Ghanaians like Iñaki Williams and Lapti would definitely add a great asset in defence there, and they're trying to get Hudson-Odoi and Nketiah to join, but I just feel like there's not enough time for such quality players to be embedded into the squad, and with the tight match fixtures and Ghana still has AFCON qualifiers in September, I feel like there's just not enough time. And in my opinion, I think that was the issue with Nigeria in the World Cup qualifiers just gone. I feel like players like Calvin Bassey in defence, Dressers and Lookman in attack were kind of just shoved into the squad. And there was just incoherence, especially in the attack there. But let me know what you guys think in the comment section below. Do you think such players do have time to be embedded into the Ghanaians? Ghana's chances this World Cup, not going to lie, I see it being a group stage exit. I just don't think they're there at the moment. They've got a lot of exciting young players and they do have experience in the Ayew brothers, but mainly from what I said, like if they're trying to get too many new players that don't have enough time to fit in, there'll be incoherence, and I really think that would hinder Ghana. Africa did make, a breaking point in the 2014 World Cup where two African nations actually got out of the group stage. I know the last World Cup 2018 was actually an all-time low for a long time for African football because no African team got out of the group stage. Some very close, like Senegal, with that only didn't qualify because of too many yellow cards and that. But the last time that happened was, I think, in the 80s or something. So at least one African nation has always got out of the groups. So some people might feel like that's a setback, but in my opinion, I feel like a lot of the African teams in the last World Cup, were making their first appearance in decades, so it was very new. But teams like Senegal, Tunisia, Morocco, have that experience from the last World Cup, and their squads haven't changed a huge amount. So, and I think that will work to their benefit. So there you have my predictions of Africa's chances within the 2022 World Cup. Do you agree with me? Do you disagree with me? Let me know your comments in the comment section below. Thanks for watching as always. Don't forget to like and subscribe, and see you in the next video. Pedro predictions.